Yeah, I was gonna ask, is it gonna be recorded? That's what I was gonna ask.
As soon as you raised your hand, I started recording.
Okay, and then did it record the whole thing? Because
No,
I
I
would like to
didn't.
go back to the review questions that we had earlier too and all that.
No, I did not recorded that. I only recorded as soon as you raised hand, I knew what will be the question. You know, somehow I got the information transferred, relayed to me through my Wi-Fi, teacher Wi-Fi. You know, when I used to teach math several years ago, I used to tell from my desk to probably a kid who is like 2 rows away from me that you're solving this problem wrong. And he's like, how can you tell? I said, by your pencil strokes. Because if you were to solve this problem the way it should be solved, your pencil strokes would not be moving the way they're moving. And he was solving it wrong. So anyway, you know, that's stuff. It happens. Thanks to Hogward for some of this. Now, do you see anything over here on my forehead? No.
I just see a widow's peak, but that's it.
Yeah, no, I don't have any other lightning symbols. No, I didn't met any of those guys. Anyway, so that's why only what we will talk now will be recorded. So it comes down to the TIMI layer from the operating system. The TIMI layer will take that, put it down to the system licensed internal code layer, which is specially designed to understand the IBM iOS commands and convert it to the form that the underlying machine can understand. So the TIMI layer will serve as a very useful layer only for the operating system coming down. And then it is insulating the logical machine, because remember, IBM iOS is a logical machine. It's not a physical machine. The physical machine is IBM Power System. So the TIMI makes you and I feel like as if we are using a physical machine, but we're not. So this logical machine called IBM iOS comes only as far as TIMI layer, which will take all these instructions from the physical and will take it to the physical machine through the SLIC layer, which is to carry out hardware operations later to the later stage. So that's basically is the architecture of layers, because programs do not directly deal with the hardware. Therefore, they're not concerned with the physical storage addresses. To the IBM iOS, it creates some kind of logical addressing. So the addressing that you're looking at for an object is only a pointer. And that pointer then points to the physical address. So behind the scene at the hardware level, operating system storage is at a single level. It's a single homogeneous mass called single level storage. When objects are created, they're written to the single level storage and are assigned a permanent virtual address. And that's what you can see. You can never see the physical address because all these layers in between will never let you gain access to that information. So since the operating system is running in a virtual environment, so these addresses are also virtual but permanent. This address is placed in a pointer managed by the library. So that is another significance of a library. So when you put an object in a library, the library is not only just a visual placeholder of the object, but it also manages a pointer to the virtual address where the object is placed. And that virtual information is then transferred over to the TIMI layer, which then transfers that information to the SLIC layer, which then takes it to the actual address. And you cannot access either of those two layers. They're below the operating system. You can only work at the operating system layer. So this is how the addressing goes behind the scene. Very, very different. Very, very different. Yes, Samantha.
Is IBM only available through the V2 cloud?
Yes. Yes, we do not have licenses to give it out to students to be installed on their computers. IBM iOS cannot run, remember, IBM iOS cannot run on any machine but IBM mid-range computers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then usually, you know, people could be given access to the V2 cloud through the softwares like 5250. But instead of giving those licensed software out, we have installed them on the V2 cloud. That will save you having to install them on the local machine, and you can always access them through your web browser as long as you have access to the internet. Okay. Wow. Okay. So real memory management becomes a function of the internal code and not of the applications. This design lets different jobs share the same object at the same time because you're not using physical addressing. The power system of today is certainly, you know, much stronger and better than the AS400. It is, of course, dramatically smaller, faster, denser, less expensive, and more electrical power efficient than their predecessors. Okay, so those are the layers. I will give you guys 10 minutes to read pages 82 through 84. That's important stuff. And then if you get done earlier, you can let me know by giving me a green check. But pages 82 through 84, and anybody who doesn't has the book, then slides 7 through 12. Okay, guys, in a minute, we will start the chapter again. Okay, guys, so before you guys started reading, let's recap what we spoke about. One of the things that we talked about is that IBM I is an object-based operating system. Everything is an object, doesn't matter what it is, a library, it is a source file, it is a program, database file, doesn't matter what it is, it's an object. In order for you to interact with these objects, they need to have names and they need to have types, which are called the object types. These object types will categorize these objects in the category such that the commands can only work on those objects which qualify the object type. So in this example, what we looked at in the book on page number 82, slide number 6, that, for example, the very on command is specially designed for a device object and will not work on a program or a database. But then there are certain commands which can work on multiple objects. All commands are verb driven. Some commands are 4 or 2 letters long, but mostly commands are structured slightly differently, which we'll talk about next week. In this operating system, IBM iOS, everything is virtual. Nothing is physical. Whatever is physical is at the bottom layer, which is 64-bit RISC hardware layer. To make things possible to run multiple operating systems simultaneously, there's a layer called Power Hypervisor, which is a firmware that gets shipped with the hardware, and it keeps all operating systems communication with the hardware possible. So the IBM Power System, our Power Hypervisor software layer allows Power System to run different operating systems simultaneously, which includes IBM iOS, AIX, and Linux officially. These are the ones. Operating system, IBM iOS works with objects. All the objects are stored on the physical machine, but to the IBM iOS, those objects only have virtual addresses. Those virtual addresses are kept as pointers inside the libraries where they're kept. The physical addresses are not exposed to the operating system. Nobody can get to their actual physical location. IBM I creates 2 layers between the IBM iOS and the Power Hypervisor. One is called the TIMI layer and one is called the SLIC layer. The TIMI layer's responsibility is to take commands from the operating system and move it to the SLIC's internal code, which will then translate it in the fashion that the lower layer can understand. This internal code translates the object-based instructions of the logical machine, the application programs, and the operating system, because it's running as a logical item, into the actual physical machine, which runs at the lowest level. So an action requested on an object passed through the TIMI and then converted into a SLIC code before it goes down. So the TIMI layer serves the very useful purpose of insulating the logical machine from the physical machine so that programs are not dependent on the hardware, and that's the key. We do not want the programs to be hardware dependent. Rather, they should be in the format that they can be installed on the operating system. So the translation of high-level machine instructions set by system license internal code to carry out hardware operations is called the layered machine architecture. Okay, So in short, IBMers will say, well, we understand that this is a layered machine architecture, and that's what they mean by that. Because programs do not deal directly with hardware, and they are therefore are not concerned with the physical storage addresses. Everything gets stored on a single level storage, and everything is assigned a permanent virtual address. All operating system objects are categorized by object type. This is where we will start from page number 8485. All of these objects, as I told you earlier today, are categorized by object types. And these object types are more than 75. An object type is like a container, a bucket, which can hold similar objects. So for example, all and any kind of programs are in a program object type. Any and all database files or data storage files, could be physical file, logical files, views, all of them will be inside a file type. Similarly, anything to do with queues will be in a queue type. So things of that nature. IBM adds new objects in every operating system version. Right now we have 75 plus-ish types. Here is an example, which is on slide number 14 and also on page 85, that the very first column talks about the object types. The second column talks about its description, and the last column talks about what you are familiar as file extension. We don't call it file extension in this operating system. What do we call it? An attribute called subtype. Okay, there are several attributes for an object. One of the attributes is subtype. Subtype is equivalent to file extension in Windows. Okay, but objects are not categorized by subtypes. Objects are categorized by object types. So object types, for example, menu is an object type. Any kind of a menu that you will create will automatically go in the container called menu type. Can I decide as a creator that where I want my object to be placed? The answer is no. Can I change later on the object type for my object? Answer is no. The operating system will never ever let you change the object type of any object. There is no command to do that. How can you do it? You can't. It is just something operating system can do and gives user no choice. Otherwise, it'll be a disaster.
What if you could change the operating system?
What do you mean?
Like change the way that it can store stuff around?
How
Like-
will you do that?
You'd probably have to make your whole own operating system from the ground up.
Exactly. And that operating system won't even run on the internal layers. So operating system can only give you certain doorways into it. If you do not have those doorways, you can't access that stuff. It's pretty much like, for example, Java runs in a sandbox environment. So you cannot go outside of the sandbox. Even if you try, it won't let you because there is no door out. That's how it is. Okay. So moving on to requesting an object, which is page number 86, slide number 15. When you request an object, either by selecting a menu or by entering an actual command that will lead you to an object, often it is not necessary to specify the name of the library. And when you don't do that, it is called an unqualified name search because the library is missing. Now your system has to work super hard trying to locate the object that you're looking for. So when you specify a simple object name, which can be only up to 10 characters long, without the name of the library where you want it to be looked up, then your request goes through the entire system. It will first go through the system libraries, will then go through the current library, then we're going to go through the user libraries, and so on and so forth. Okay, just because you own a library or just because you have right of access to a library, that does not mean it will show up in your library list. If you want certain library to show in your library list, you have to add that library to your library list. And that's something we will do when we get to the hands-on part, that we will all create libraries and we will then check our list and you will see the library does not shows up in the list, even though it exists. until and unless we manually add a command to push it to the library, into the library list, only then it shows. So when you do an unqualified name searches, it only looks for those libraries or look into those libraries which are in your library list. If you own a library outside of your library list, you will not going to search it over there. That's why we prefer to use qualified names, because qualified names will let the operating system directly go to that library. It doesn't matter it's in the library list or not. Okay, so let's say if you run a command that I would like to call a program by the name of ACTCUS. So you literally, let's say you typed a command, I want to call ACTCUS. Okay, now when you said I want to call, the call command only works on which object? Which object does call command works on?
PGM.
Exactly, only the program object, okay? So ACTCUS has to be a program for call to work, okay? So now your system starts looking. It goes into QSys, doesn't find any object called ACTCUS, goes into help, goes into user, goes into mylib, and oops, here you go. You have an ACTCUS, but it will ignore it. Why will it ignore it?
Because it's a file.
Exactly, it's a file type. So the object file cannot be called. So it will be ignored, and then it will jump out to the user library. In the user libraries, it starts going into rlib. In the rlib, it was able to locate ACTCUS for program type, so it runs it right away. You'll be like, okay, what if I have ACTCUS as a program type also in the test library 1? Well, that's the thing. The first item it finds, it just runs it. It just stops the search after that. It just doesn't go, keeps looking. So if you want to look inside test library 1, then you are better off writing a qualified object call. So you will literally say, I want to call this. I'm just increasing the size of this box so that everybody can see what I'm typing. So then you would have to type like this. Okay, that you want the test library 1 only want to search here for an object called ACTCUS. So this would be called a qualified search. Does that make sense to everybody? Qualified versus unqualified? Chris?
That's me.
Chris? Seems a little lost. You're muted.
Oh, I'm here, but yeah, I'm kind of getting it.
Kind of getting it. Okay. Do you need more explanation?
Sure.
Okay. So do you understand libraries?
Yes.
Okay. So objects are placed in libraries. You understand that much?
Right.
Okay. So when you are searching for an object, it starts going through the libraries. If you do not mention the name of the library, the system has to go over the entire libraries available to you in your library list.
Okay.
Okay. So it always starts from the system library down to the user library. So libraries are categorized in categories like system library, current library, and user library.
Okay.
So it goes through the system library. And now let's say if I use the call command, it is now looking specifically for ACTCUS, which is a program, because call command can only work on program objects. So as soon as it finds an ACTCUS, it has to make sure that the program type is PGM, which in this case of ACTCUS, the program type is file, even though it is higher up in the search order. But just because the program type is file and call command cannot work with file objects, therefore this ACTCUS will be ignored.
Okay.
You follow that?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, since you cannot have two objects with the same name in the same library, it will now move on to the user list. which was the second item after current. In the user list, it will start with the library, which is right at the top of the user list. And you can have several libraries in the user list. And the very first library where it finds an ACTCUS that is of program type, it will just simply run that one. Because the call command can only run ACTCUS object whose type is PGM, which is program. If the type is not PGM, it will keep ignoring and keep going down the list. If it doesn't find anybody, then it'll come back and say object not found.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay, so the next point I was trying to make is that let's say if you have an ACTCUS in multiple libraries, and according to this approach, it will run only the very first one that it finds. And let's say if you want the ACTCUS in the test library 1, you want that particular ACTCUS program to run, not the one in the ARLIB. So to make that happen, you have to literally type the name of the library along with the name of the object. And that will make it possible to only look for that object in that library only and no other library. So it's pretty much like doing a search in one folder versus doing the search on the entire drive.
okay,
Okay, so if it is not able to locate ACTCUS in that library, it will just give up the search and say object not found. And this will save the system's time and resources. As opposed to this will be called a qualified search because you have given the entire thing, library / the object. If you only give the object name, it is called the unqualified search, which makes system work very hard to locate an object. Okay,
yeah.
cool. How about the rest of you? Is everybody else okay too?
Yep.
Any questions, anybody? Okay. So if the file type, if the object type is wrong, the command will ignore it and it'll only work if the object type matches. Okay. Okay. Let's go to slide number 18, which is page 87. Talks about qualified name. I sort of kind of already talked about qualified name. Would anybody like to answer the question, what is a qualified name?
When you name the object and you list the library at the same time.
Very good. Very good. So qualified names, one of the biggest advantage of a qualified name is?
It's the most
Great.
direct approach.
Okay, somebody else was saying something too?
I was saying it saves the system resources and time.
Okay, cool, awesome, okay. Now, qualified name, qualified call takes the form, which I already told you, library / the object name. So if I'm looking for ACTCUS and test library 1, then I will follow that particular format. So if there is really a account customer program in the library only, then it'll find it, okay? Or you can reference to a part of the library list also by saying, okay, I want to only look in user library list. So you can use the system value in place of the library name. Or you can say, I only want to search in the current library. So you can also do the qualified searches that way. Okay. 3 abbreviated points about the use of qualified name. I will let you read these 3 points. Which are slide 20. And move on to then after you, no, stay here, sorry, stay here. On slide 20, read these 3 bullet points. And let me write in the chat. As to where they are in the book is in the chat. Yes, Sam, go ahead. Sam Hogan.
Can you
Higginson.
list more than one library?
Uh,
Or does it have to be two separate searches that you?
has to be two separate searches, or if you're
Okay.
writing a script, then you can loop through the process, but no, otherwise no. Okay, so after that, moving on to slide number 21, library list. What is a library list? Library list is the set of libraries that your unqualified searches will go through. It doesn't mean that these are the only libraries that you have access to. It just means these are the libraries that will be searched for all unqualified searches. Often during an interactive job, it may be necessary to add or remove libraries from the library list. So you can always add libraries to the library list, remove libraries from the library list. Removing a library from a library list does not mean that the library is deleted. It's just not there in the library list, but still there behind the scene. So it's quite possible that, let's say Samantha wants Jack to use a library, and then Jack is done using the library. So what Jack does, he just removes the library from the library list. Samantha still has the library, and she can then go ahead and remove Jack's rights and permissions on the library. So things of that nature. So a library that has been removed from the library list still exists on the system, but simple name references cannot be used by the job to access its objects. So you cannot just use an unqualified search and get to the objects in that library. The operating system has several CL commands that let you work with libraries. And one of those commands is, there's a misspell here in the PowerPoint. It should be DSP-LIBL. DSP is for display, LIB is for library, and L is for list. Display, library, list. This command will give you the list of all the libraries that are available to you. And you can also look at page 89, where an author gives you a little code snippet, a screen, where he shows you when he ran display library list on his end, that's what he received. All these libraries listed. And it also lists what are their type. Check the type column. The libraries that start with the letter Q, they are most likely the system libraries. Those have your commands in them. Some of them are GTC system libraries, like the ones that we created in-house. And we supply you with some stuff that you need for your day-to-day operations. And then there are some system libraries like QSys, QSys2, HelpSys, UserSys. Those are provided to you by IBM. And then your current library, which is where things go by default when no other when no other library is mentioned. So in the case of the author, that's called mylib. And you can always change your current library. You are not locked in that current library. And then there are other libraries, author lists after that. And those are libraries in which you can store objects, but they are not your current library. So that can be seen with the help of a command called display library list, DSP libl. If you want to change your current library to a different library, then you issue the command change current library, chgcurlib, change current library, followed by the name of the library that you want to change to. So what happens after you run that command? Okay, what happens is if you look at page 89, right? On page 89, your current library is mylib. After you run that command, which is at the bottom of slide 23, your library mylib will be replaced with RPG4 Advance. Okay, so where do you think mylib will go after that? After this command runs, where will mylib go? Will it go down the list in the user library or no?
Remove it from the library list?
It will be removed from the library list. Very good. It will not go down to the user library list. It will simply be removed from the library list because you are overriding it with a different library. And then if you always want to bring it back, you can reissue the same command, change current library, but use, instead of RPG4 Advance, use mylib, and then mylib will be back. Okay, so page 90 in your books show you this process. That figure 3.5 is where you can see the current library. Oops, current library. You use a different name for a current library. And then in figure 3.6, you can see that the mylib is replaced by all user as your current library. And mylib is gone. It's not in the list anymore. Okay, also, once you are done creating a library, after you create a library, you have to issue a command, add library list entry. And this command will let you add a library to the library list. So if you look very closely to this command, it is asking you what is the name of the library that you want to add. So you supply it with the library list command, okay, with the name of the library that you want to add. Next, it asks you, where do you want to add it? If you say I want it to be the first library in the user list, it just says, okay, I'll just add it to the top of your list. After the current library, all the libraries are listed that are user libraries. It'll be right at the top of the list. If you say last, then it'll be towards the bottom of the list. If you say I want to add it after, so you got to put asterisk after, and you got to write the name of the library that after which this library will be added. Or if you want to add it before a certain library, then you use asterisk before, and then you write the name of the library before which you want this library to be added. So you can control where in the library list you want this library to be added. And then when you press enter, it just shows up in the list. Okay. Also, if you want to change the library list order, you can always try change library list, and then you can just put your libraries. However, this command is not as efficient as the edit library command is, which gives you several libraries to work with at the same time. Now, let's look at this list. Edit library list, EDT-LIBL. You press enter and it shows you this. Every library is given a number like 10, 20, 30, 40, and that shows its placeholder. Okay. If I want QTemp to go at the top of the list is 10. Okay. If I want QTemp to go at the top of the list, I will go to where it says 30, and instead of 30, I will type a number between 0 and 10. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, any number between 0 and 10. And automatically, when I press enter, QTemp will be 10, and the entire list will be pushed down. So RLib will be 20, testlib1 will be 30. It's just like adding a card in the middle of the rail. I mean, like in the middle of the train, will push all the other cards behind it one spot back. That's basically how it works, like a linked list.
Is there a limit to how many libraries you can have in the list?
Yes, Yes, we will also talk about that, but just so that you know, 250 up to 250 user libraries is what you can have in your library list, in your display library list. Okay. Now comes locating an object, but you got to wait till I start locating an object because we'll be taking a break. Ha. Okay. Do you have your Kit Kats ready? No, this is what I saw on the television. Take a break, have a Kit Kat. That's okay. You can
I
have
mean, I have a
almond.
chocolate, but I'm not going to eat it now.
You can have an almond joy and have some joy. I'll resume the recording. And we will start from where we last left off, which was slide number 27. Out of 45. And if you are following book, that will be page number 96. When you're trying to locate an object on this system, what does the system really looks for? If you have your books on you, look at page 97, because it is not that clear on slide number 28. Or what I can do is this, I can bring in maybe Microsoft Word and try to paste it there and then maybe zoom in that way. Let me try to do that. A little bit better and bigger, okay? So when you request an object, the first thing it does, it tries to see if the name is explicit or qualified name. If it is not a qualified name, then it starts looking for that object in your entire library list. If the name is qualified, then it checks to see if you are even authorized to use that library. If you're authorized to use that library, then it starts searching for that object in that library. If you're not authorized, then it sends you an error message. If you are authorized to access the library, it starts searching for that name in the library, or it starts searching throughout your library list to make sure that it can find that item. If the proper type is found, then it goes one route, but throughout the search, if it cannot find the proper item, then it sends an error message. If it can find the item that you're looking for, now it goes through the second security check to make sure that you have authority, or are you even authorized to use that object using the command that you are trying to access. If you're not authorized at the object level and you only had authorization at the library level, it will still deny you. If not, it will let you use the object. Does that make sense to you guys? So it starts out with how the library is mentioned. If the library name is mentioned, then it checks the authority on the library. Why does it not check the authority on the search library list? Because the library list will not have any library that you don't have authority over. So that's why it doesn't check for authorization on the library list. It only checks for authorization on the qualified name, because it only has to search for and look for one authority. Here it would have to look for hundreds of authorities, because each library has an authority. So that's why it doesn't do that. And then once it is going through the items, then it has to search for the proper type in case the item is found. And then it needs to check for the authority on the item that is found. Okay. And then if you get green check all the way through, then you can use the object. You okay, Chris? Okay, cool. Now, let's move on to storing objects. Objects are created using some kind of a create command. It all depends on what kind of object you're creating, but it will always start with a verb create. So if you're creating a library, it will be CRTLIB. So let's take an example if you're trying to create a library. So you type CRTLIB followed by the name of the library, and that is a library that you want to create. Okay, well and good. Once the library is created, are libraries objects?
Yes.
Yes, they are. So it will go as an object in somewhere. That library will be stored as an object. So some object types are associated only with the system library, and you cannot put them anywhere else. For example, whenever you create a library, the type is LIB. That needs to go in the QSys library. You cannot put libraries in other user-defined libraries, okay? User profile also go in QSys. Devices that get connected to the system, their descriptions also go in QSys. So how are these objects actually stored? Let me go back to Word document. And once again, I will delete the previous image I have and replace it with this new one and zoom in. Or maybe increase the size. Come on. There you go. Oops. There you go. Okay. So we are trying to create an object with a qualified name or not with a qualified name. That's the first thing. If it is not with a qualified name, the object goes in the current library. If it's a qualified name, then it goes in the library of your qualified name, but however, it needs to check the authority. If no current library is assigned, then it gets placed in QGPL. So that's how the objects get to be stored. Okay, now moving on to page number 101, which is the second to the last topic of this chapter, which is about simplified batch work management. This is where the author of the book is trying to help you understand the operating system's work management is like an air traffic control facility. Air traffic controllers avoid potentially dangerous competition for limited resources. That's exactly how an operating system works. Okay, now, first of all, the operating system, as the diagram on the next slide, which is page 101 in the book, figure 3.17, as the diagram on the next slide illustrates, the work scheduler controls incoming batch jobs, placing them in a job queue until they can begin execution, and printed output, placing it in an output queue until the writer is available and can print. So as the jobs are coming in, they're placed in a special queue called a job queue. Now these job queues, you can have several job queues, okay? As long as you have a job queue, the jobs are placed there. It's just a line in which jobs are getting placed. From that line, they're now getting scheduled into their correct subsystem with which they are supposed to run. If that job produces some kind of an output, then it goes to the output queue, which is again a staging area. From that staging area, it can make its way into an actual output like a printer or a device like a screen, or you could simply just delete it from there. So that's where it is staged. Now, with this concept comes the idea that without work scheduling, the processor and main storage would be overwhelmed by too many unruly batch jobs, all demanding to be run at once. So that's why these queues will help them keep the overflowing away and keep the flow continuous. Then comes the next topic, printer spooling at the bottom of page 101. A specialized part of the operating system with its own dedicated subsystem is called queue spool. It handles the process of print spooling. This subsystem stages, controls, and manages each printed report, which is called a spooled or spool file, created by a job before the report goes to an actual printer. So for example, how many of you have written any programs yet in Intro to Programming class? For those of you who are taking it, okay? So when you write a program, have you used any variables yet in a program? Okay, so how does a variable store the value that you give to the variable? Where does it keep that value?
In its memory.
In its memory, okay, which is where? On the computer, which is basically called your RAM, correct? So the memory that is given to the variable, to the programmer, it's a variable name. To the computer, it's a memory location. And anytime you assign a new value to that variable, the previous value is gone. It can only maintain one value at a time. That kind of a memory is basically then used by your program to fetch and display an output. When the output is getting displayed on the screen, that is held inside a separate memory. That is your output memory. That's exactly on this operating system would be called your spool file. So if you run a program and the program is supposed to generate an output, that output is held inside a special subsystem called QSpool, and that output is actually in a physical object called spool file. Okay, so spool file is pretty much your output, ready to be either printed on the screen or ready to be printed on an actual physical device. It's totally your choice how you want to deal with it or delete it. So unlike your programming experience where your output is in RAM, here the output is kept in an actual object called spooled file. That's the difference. Does that make sense to you guys? What spool file object is?
Is it like something that's physical of the computer?
Yeah, it's an actual file. So as opposed to keeping your data in memory in RAM, where it will be gone at the end of the program, here
I
the
see.
data is kept in an actual file where it stays there till you decide to delete that object.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Mhm.
Are you able to obtain an object after you delete it?
No, once you delete it, there is no concept of recycle bin. If that's what you're asking.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. To create a printed output, a program, operating system, utility, or print key function must write the output data to a printer file, okay? Now, if you look at page number 102, which shows you this diagram, which is a way to understand how spool files will work, okay? So maybe I can take this diagram to my Word document and okay. Didn't do much difference, but whatever. Change the orientation to landscape. Okay. Okay. So what it does here is the application program is supposed to send an output data. That output data is then kept in an output queue. In the output queue, it is held inside a staging area called spooled file, ready to be picked up by a special program called print writer, which can then give it to a physical printer to print it. Or you decide right at this level that you do not want to physically print it, you can just get rid of it right here and then.
When it's printed, does the spooled file like clear itself?
No,
Okay.
no, it's just like you're sending it to the printer. Okay, now, if you turn to page 104 in your book, it talks about a special queue called work with output queue. If you look at the screen, which one of the 4 screen types we learned in chapter 1 does this qualifies to be? Figure
List.
3.19. Yes.
This,
List. Very good. So it's a list screen. You have options at the top that you can use. As you can see over here, you have an option to delete, hold, display. So generally, if you want to just see what the printer output looks like, you just go and choose option 5, look at the output, and then get rid of it by using delete. Okay. Or the ones that whose status is ready, they are the one which are ready to be printed. Okay. So right at the bottom of figure 3.19 on page 104, you can see that the output queue status for the output queue is currently RLS, which is release status, which means that if the queue is assigned to a printer, the printer is started and is set to the correct form type. The files will print as they go to the ready status. Output queues can also have a status of held to prevent the indiscriminate printing of files. Notice that some of the files in the preceding screen are in the ready status and some are in the open status. Open status tells us that the program that is creating the print file is still running and has the file open. So these statuses will tell you what exactly it is. Okay, so having said that, for those of you who have your books, please read the chapter summary on page 105. And those who don't, read the last 3 slides. Oh, sorry, last four slides, 42 through 45.
You said who had the book do what? Where am I supposed to read?
Page 105 in the book.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. And whenever you are done reading the chapter summary, please give me a green check. So as you start getting done with your reading part, chapter summary, please follow the steps that you can see on my screen on the slide. And then I'm clearing the previous green checks to get new green checks when you are done with the first 3 bullet points. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay. Oh, so we have, okay. Ernesto and Sam Hoganson are the only people left who are still in the process of logging into V2 Cloud. Is it slower for you guys, Sam Hogginson and Ernesto? Or you're just in the initial stages?
Initial stages, just having trouble.
Oh, okay. And Ernesto? Okay, got it. Okay. So as soon as Sam gives us a thumbs up, for those of you who are already in, double click on the icon that reads Access Client Solutions. It's right on the desktop. Double click that icon, Access Client Solutions. It may take a few seconds for it to load. It probably may flicker a little bit, but it will load. It's a little bit slower. What? It's flickering and not opening. Strange.
I'm sorry, what was the thing you told me to do again?
What do you mean?
Once we are into V2 Cloud, what was the application we're supposed to?
It's the last bullet point. Double click on the icon that reads Access Client Solutions. It's just flickering, not opening. I am trying to re-log into the V2 Cloud.
Mine worked. It just took like 2 minutes
Dude,
to
come
actually
on.
open.
Okay. Then patience is the virtue today. It opened. Cool. Okay. Okay. So that's how it looks like once it opens up. Awesome.
Yeah, mine's doing the little did the circle thing, and I'm just waiting to see when it pops up.
Okay. So a log, this is one of the other neat things. For if for any reason by mistake you close a browser window and you reopen it right away, your session is still in memory. So for example, for me, I double clicked on 3 times. When I logged back in, 3 windows were open for me. Because sometimes you know what happens when we are in the maximize mode and I say, okay, close the window. So some people, instead of closing the local, even myself, they close the main browser window. So as a result, you know, you close the window and the operating system is running within the window. So the whole thing closes. So let me clear the green checks for everybody to give me green check if they have made this far.
How did you get to the IBM? I logged into V2.
Okay, double click on the icon on the desktop. The icon will read Access Client Solutions. It's a blue circle with a white eye.
Okay.
Okay,
Tell me then
that's a software that's taking a little bit of a time to open up. So once everybody get this far, I will tell you how you can configure your session. Because for you guys, if you're looking in the line of the system, you do not see deathstar.gtc.edu in that drop-down box, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
So I have to tell you guys how to configure the Death Star so that it will show up in that drop-down box. Because right now it's so fresh for you, and you don't have to do it every time because you guys are on V2 Cloud for the first time. That's why you would have to do it once. So still waiting for Ethan, Lewis, Cornelius, Ernesto, and Marcella.
Oh, I'm good. The
Oh,
green
you
check
good?
mark must have
Okay,
went
can
away.
you,
Yeah.
give me the green check, those who get done. Thumbs up disappears, so that's why I asked for green checks. Okay, so we're waiting. Cornelius, Ernesto. Oh, Cornelius also got it. Ernesto is the only one, and Alvin. Alvin got it. Okay. So for those of you who have made this far, if you look down in the last category, do you see management? And in the management, do you see system configurations? Click on that, system configurations, and this window will open for you. When you are here on this window, you probably will have the middle part blank, like I do. I have Death Star, you don't. So to bring the Death Star in the list, you click New button. When you hit the New button, it will ask you for a system name, and this is where you will type Death Star .gtc.edu. deathstar.gtc.edu in the system name, and you will simply click OK after that. That's all you got to do. And then the name will show up in the list. Ernesto, how far along are you? Okay, okay. So what is loading? Is client solutions loading or the V2 cloud? Oh, V2 is loading for you. Okay. So did it give you the login screen yet or no? No, okay.
What do you do if the window to click OK is too big and OK is beneath the taskbar and you can't click OK?
Oh,
You could hold control and
Yes.
use your scroll wheel to try to zoom.
So if you press enter, how about if you press enter, does it do it?
That verifies connection.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit tab 4 times. If you are still on the system name, hit tab 4 times and then hit enter.
Okay, there we go.
And then do you locate console? Is that what you're doing there?
I just say okay,
ju-
right? at
Yeah,
the
just
end?
say okay and make sure that Death Star is listed in the list. And then you can hit close on this one. Once you do this step, now under system, check the drop-down box. You should have Death Star as one of the items in the list. Choose Death Star instead of select a system. Okay. Okay, let's help Jacob. Jacob, we clicked on the system configurations under management on the left-hand side of the bottom. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, cool. So deathstar.gtc.edu under the system. After that, you click on 5250 emulator in the general category. Okay. When you double click on the 5250 emulator in the general category, you will see this sign on. Got it?
Is this one login password?
Oh, no. I will tell you what this is. IBM login, which you do not have yet. I will give that information to you, all of you. Okay, Chris, were you able to find it?
Yeah, I kind of missed a step, I think, here.
Oh, okay. Where are you? Are you in the IBM Access Client Solutions window?
I'm in add new system window now.
Okay, let me go back a little bit for Chris. Okay, everybody, I'll come back here. So are you in this window?
Hold on, I'll get back to that. Okay, IBM Access Solution window.
Yeah, you're here. So you see deathstar.gtc.edu in your list.
No.
Okay, did you hit new before? Like, did you hit the new button?
Yeah, I just hit it.
Okay, now type in the system name, type Death Star.
DET.
DEATH, Death
Death Star.
Star, STAR, .gtc.edu. deathstar.gtc.edu. Okay. And then you click OK. And then when you click OK, you will see Death Star listed here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you click close.
I'm having an issue with my window. It's just says verify connection, and then it won't let me minimize the screen to get, is that okay? Is at the bottom?
Yeah. So hit tab 4 times and then hit enter if it is not letting you close that. That's strange. Why it would do that? I don't know. Why it would make it so large for you to not be able to use it. Is it because you guys have a smaller screen on which you're using, or you're
No, mine's a 52-inch TV.
I mean, your browser window, I'm saying your browser window is not maximized.
It is.
It is probably then it is. Jack put an interesting thing over there. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I can't.
Okay, Chris, can you share your screen?
Sure.
Okay, let's see what's going on.
Can you see it?
It's loading. Okay, so press tab 1. Press the tab key on the keyboard.
Okay, hit it.
Total of 4 times, and it didn't move to the next box when you press tab on the keyboard.
Mhm.
It is your cursor. Is your cursor now in the description box when you press the tab once?
See my cursor here?
No, your blinking cursor, which is in the system name box.
Yeah, it's not moving.
It's not moving. Okay, how about if you bring your mouse and click inside the description box? Just take your mouse in the description box, right underneath the system name, and click.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's giving me such a hard time.
Do you have a cat around?
Yeah. A dog.
Yeah.
Maybe try closing the window and then reopening it to see if it's just like bugged out.
Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, it won't let me.
So it won't let you click on it either? Like when you're clicking, nothing happening?
Nope.
Okay, how about if you close the V2 Cloud? Just go to that browser tab, V2 Cloud. No, not this one, right at the top, the browser, in your browser, right at the top, where you see all those tabs, your
Okay.
Blackboard, your V2 Cloud, right at the top of your screen, where you have Blackboard and all the other tabs open in the browser, just close the tab.
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's even not letting you work with your mouse there?
I think his browser completely froze.
Yeah, probably. Which browser is this?
Firefox.
Okay. Can you try, do you have a different browser other than Firefox on your computer?
Yeah, you want me to just exit out and just log?
You can leave the Firefox open. Just go to that browser, start that browser, and in the URL type gtc.onelogin.com and then start fresh.
Okay.
How's it going with you, Ernesto? Ernesto, is it still loading for you? Oh. Oh, you started the gateway page and the app disappeared. Oh my God.
I'm getting deja vu.
Okay. How about if you close the browser, leave the Zoom session, just close the browser altogether. Which browser are you using? Chrome? Or it shouldn't matter though. I mean, but still, I'm just asking. Edge, okay. Should work in the Edge. I tried on Edge the other day. I was able to get in. So maybe if you want to close the browser, all the tabs, everything, just start fresh with only one tab open. Just go to gtc.onelogin.com and see if it lets you do that. If it doesn't let you do that, do you have access to an alternate browser? Then maybe you should try using the other browser. So, today at the beginning of the class, I made sure my Mac is ready in case Desmond asks me it's not working from his Mac. So I have something to test.
My Mac is sitting next to my actual laptop.
Oh,
now.
so
I completely stopped. Just use I have an Elite book. And
okay.
I'm on that instead because I
Okay.
don't want to go through that whole Mac thing all over again.
Okay. No. I mean, that's why I made sure that my Mac is charged and is ready to use in case. And that was one of the reasons that I asked for a Mac too, that some students have Macs and I have no way of reproducing that problem on a Windows machine. So
Yeah.
they were able to, they had a Mac. I had an older Mac that they switched with a newer one. So yeah, for that reason, I thought I'll bring my Mac.
Well, I appreciate the gesture, but
No problem. No problem. It's just like
I just hate working on laptop, to be honest. So I usually use I have a PC upstairs too, a desktop, and it has a smart switch on it that you could just connect your thing and you work the keyboard and all of that. So what I did was I bought new monitors and bought a new desk and then did all that stuff so that I could be comfortable in my man cave down here. And
cool.
And I just put the Mac in the garage right now. Well, not in the garage technically, but on the side, which means it's not going to be driven for a while.
Do you know there is a garage inside the Mac?
There is?
Yeah, it's called GarageBand.
Oh, really? I was talking to my her IT teacher about you. IT? Is it IT? No, programming. I take a class on Wednesday.
With who?
What's her name?
Wendy.
Probably.
Wendy.
Yeah. So we were trying to decide if you were from Pakistan. She's like, I think he's from Pakistan. That's what she said. I said, I don't know. He talks with an accent a little bit, but his English is perfect. It's just you could hear that there's an accent there. So where are you original? Well,
Pakistan.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
yes,
that's what she remembered. I mean, she described. I mean, I that's how my description to her was. I said, I know he's Indian in some type of way, but I don't know from where. So I was guessing.
I mean, like quite a few people have asked me that before, that we could not figure out with your accent where exactly are you from.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
Sorry, what was the website I got to log into again?
gtc.onelogin.com.
Right.
I have a friend from India, and you and him sound the same. His name is Sanjay. I don't know if that's a popular name on that part. Like my name is very rare, even in my country. Like not a lot of people. I think I've only know one other person that has my name.
Yeah, I think I probably yeah. Even your last name is not very common, right?
My great grandfather is from France, so I got French in me.
Oh,
my grandma is like from my mom's side is Indian, like with the dot in the middle of her forehead, and then my grandfather is like my color, and then on my dad's side, my grandfather is black, and then my grandma is from Guatemala, which migrated to Belize, so I'm all kind of mixed up.
Wow, amazing. So how do you say your last name? I forgot. Robert. And is this how you say it in French as well?
Yeah, they just pronounce the two a little bit more aggressive when they say it in that, because they're like Robotu or whatever.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, like, and they
Roboto.
Yeah, I got Roboto. I mean, people mess up my name so much, I don't care anymore. I just say, hey, whatever you want to call me. If you can pronounce it that way, go by all means.
Any luck, Ernesto and Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm back at the same problem now. I'm in this.
So your mouse is still behaving the same way, like odd as it was doing before. Do you want to share your screen?
Here, I think I got it.
Okay, okay. And Ernesto, how about you? How's it going for you now?
So do I hit new now that it's up there?
Yes, you will hit new and then you will type deathstar.gtc.edu and then it's still coming out, mouse not behaving.
No. So I'm in the IBM Access Client Solution page. It has the deathstar.gtc.
Oh, okay. Can you share your screen? That way I can guide you better.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
So am I on the
Oh,
right?
you're all set. Just hit close
Okay.
and then hit under the general category in the top left corner, hit 5250 emulator. And okay, we're all this far. That's exactly where we are.
Sorry, everyone. Thank you.
I'm just waiting for our friend Ernesto. And Ernesto and Maricela, are you all caught up?
Yeah, I'm on the same page.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. Ernesto is not updating me and is Ernesto, I hope you're not hanging to the edge. Do you have a different browser that you can test? In the meanwhile, let me share with you guys your IDs and passwords, okay? Now, how about all of you in the password type in all lowercase NEWPASS, new pass. All of you have the same password to start with that you will be asked to change. I'll tell you the rules, okay? So in your password type new pass, all lowercase, and I'll tell you your username, okay? So, oops, not this window, this window, okay. Now here, your usernames match your name with your user ID. So let's say for Cornelius, he would be ITPA569. So match your name with your ID. So whatever you see under username, that should go under your username.
Okay, wait. I'm so confused.
What username?
Okay, okay. So is everybody here on the screen, the IBM sign-on screen?
Yes.
Here.
So your password for all of you is new pass that I wrote in the chat. Okay. Where you see the word user, each one of you have a different username. So here in the Excel sheet, I'm sharing with you what your username is. So try to look for your name in the student name column. Oh, hold on a second.
You need to share your screen
I need
first.
to share. That's not like,
That would help a lot.
What?
Hey,
Oh,
that's it. Thank you.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So
Here you go.
I was so
I was
muted.
like still under the impression that
If your
I'm
name is
sharing.
Cornelius, it's ITP54.
Ah, okay, so
Yeah, he said too fast.
match your student name with your username, and then whatever that username is, that's what you put in the username box.
It's hard for me to read it.
I can zoom in, or I can tell. Oh yeah, I can zoom in a little bit, but then I would have to zoom down once the top people have read theirs.
Okay.
Is it better? Can you read better? Can you read it now?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. And hold on to this ID because this will be your ID till you graduate. So write it down someplace safe.
Never mind.
Say that again, please.
I was just gonna say, I got an error message, but then I realized it's because it said the password expired, and I was like, oh yeah, because we got to change it, right?
Yes, yes, and don't do anything. I will tell you the rules. Yes, I will scroll down, Louis.
Wait, we don't make a new password.
Yes, please hold on till I give the directions so that I don't have to give the directions as many people as are in the room. So
Okay.
once you grab your username, you put in your username in the username box. All of you have the password of new pass. You click OK, log in, and I'll give you a warning that your password has expired and you need to come up with a new password. So all of us should be staying on that screen. Okay, I will be clearing out your green checks. Can you please give me a new green check that all of you have received that little error that is asking you that you need to change your password? And Ernesto, do you still not see the V2 Cloud when you log in to the Edge? I mean, like through the Edge? No, okay. Is it possible for you to download a different browser? People have told me in the past, Edge is the best browser to download other browsers.
This is a true fact.
So
That's toxic.
Is it toxic if it's true though?
Got him.
No, it's actually true because it's toxic.
Facts.
it's all in the Edge. Just don't fall off. Okay, so I'm still waiting.
I don't have my name on here at the moment.
Oh, okay. Who is that?
That was Jack.
Jack Harris.
I'm getting an error.
Yeah, you are supposed to get an error. You know what? Okay. Okay, everybody else besides Jack, did you make a note of your ID? Okay. I will be
Wait,
telling. Yeah.
Can you scroll all the way up?
Yep.
And for the ID I'm not sure, is it last name and then
No. Your ID is that username that you see next to your name. ITPA570. That's your username.
There's a layer underneath that I think is confusing her. So like, in the C category next to the D in Excel, it looks like it's bleeding into the username. And I think, yeah, perfect.
Okay. That's your username, ITPA570.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm stopping to share my screen so that I can check to see. Did you join a little later, Jack, in the classroom? Or were you there on the original?
Yeah, I registered at basically the first day of class because I had issues with my account.
Oh, okay. That's why when I sent in the original list, your name might not be there. So I'm not sure if.
It's also probably why I didn't have V2 Cloud access at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Okay, but you have it now.
Correct.
Okay. I have to check to see if there is any unassigned one that I can give you. Sometimes we have some extra ones. So your last name is Harris.
Yes.
Just hold a second. First name is Jack. Okay, let me update my list. Just give me 1 minute, okay? And then I'll tell you what yours is.
Do you want us to change the password?
Just
Or-
1 minute, just 1 minute. Okay, Jack, your will be ITPA 309.
ITPA 309. Got it.
Okay, now for the rest of you who are on that screen where you need to change the password, you will gonna click OK to change the password. And these are some of the rules to keep in mind. When you're choosing a password, it needs a number, one digit. Don't even put two digits next to each other. One digit in the password. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, do not put the same 2 letters next to each other. For example, my name, Saad, S-A-A-D. I cannot use that, but I can make S-A-1-A-D. That'll be fine. Oh. And then also make a note of that password. Nobody can see that password. Even if you forget it, I may have to reassign you a new password. Nobody can see anybody's password.
And then after we have the number in the middle, does that mean that we can do like any other character besides that?
Yeah, for example, if I have something like this, you know,
Like that would be a password?
that could be a password, right? You
Okay.
know. Yes, Sam, go ahead.
I think my V2 window timed out and I had to close it out and re-enter it. Can you just guide me to the login real quick?
Sure. Are you in the V2 cloud right now?
Yeah, and I just opened up
Access client solutions. Okay.
Yep.
Under the system, do you see debtstar.gtc.edu already
Yep.
written out? Okay.
Yep, still
Now,
there.
double click on 5250 emulator. Which is underneath the data transfer, and then put in your IBM ID. And did you change the password or no?
No, it crashed right before I got to that point.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm there.
Yeah, okay, cool. So then enter new pass as your password and get in. So once you are successfully done entering your username and password, you're more likely to land here where I am right now. And this is where you need to re-enter your ITPA username. Oops. Tab, enter your password, and notice it just simply moves the cursor in the password box, doesn't give you the password, echoes it back. And once you enter your username and password, and then you hit enter.
I'm sorry, what was the password for 5250 supposed to be?
Did you change your password?
Yeah, I did.
Whatever that password
Okay,
that you
okay,
changed,
cool.
right?
Can I have a look at my username again? I forgot what the last three numbers were.
587.
I was having issues with it and I realized I couldn't paste a password and I had to type it in case that's affecting anybody else.
No, that will not affect anybody else.
Once you type username in, how do you do the password?
Say again?
Once you type your username in, how do you do the password?
You just hit tab and start typing your password.
Okay.
And when you're done typing your password, then you hit enter, and then you see your initial program. That's your initial program. So in our initial program, we just simply tell you your sign-on time, and that's about it. And then you hit enter, and then you go to your main menu.
It's telling me I can't sign on.
Okay, how about I stop sharing and you can share your screen. That way I will know exactly what's going on and can help you.
How do I share it?
There must be a green button at the bottom that says share
Okay.
screen. Yeah. Louis, to answer your question. Oh, did you already get it answered or what? You're still there for your
Can you
password.
hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I was having mic issues. I'm trying to put in the password and it's saying I don't have the correct value. I have the number in the middle and no letters are like duplicate, like next to each other.
And what's the length?
12.
Try reducing it to less than 10.
I had 12 for mine as well, and I believe you can't have two numbers next to each other because I put one number in the middle of my password and then it worked.
Yeah, you have to have one digit, but you cannot have two.
I had to shorten mine too. That was a problem that I had.
Okay.
I did 6 characters.
And hold on a second, 596. Let me check to see that you have not disabled yourself, okay? This is a good thing.
A good thing?
For everybody to know that if you disable yourself,
Right, it worked.
ITPA 596. And who is this? ITPA 596?
Cornelius.
Oh, no, no, Cornelius. You are in somebody else's.
I am?
Yes, you are 569.
Oh, I think I just typed it in wrong. That's
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's somebody
Wait,
else.
what?
I hope you did not disable his account. I'll
Whose account is that?
Yep, his account was disabled.
Wow. So I
Okay.
gotta go all the way.
No. Just retype 569. I enabled him. Don't worry. So just yeah, just move your cursor to the last two digits and just type 569. No, you don't have to delete everything. 569. Tab. Press tab and then put your password. And then hit enter. Password not correct. Now that's a different problem. You know, you are entering something not right.
What? Let me see.
Here you go. Cool. So notice it tells you that you have made one wrong attempt this far. If that hits 3, it will be disabled.
Okay.
Okay, so press enter.
I need to change the password.
Why is it asking you to change the password again?
That's because I think when I signed on that account with that username, I literally had took a picture of it and then I changed the password on that account too.
No, you cannot change their passwords. But anyway, go ahead, put your card, hit F12. Just hit F12 here.
Oh.
The function key F12.
I'm pressing F2.
Or press F3, whatever. No, it's not working.
No, it's doing the volume.
Okay, well, close the window. Close the window. Let's start again. Yeah. Yeah. Say no.
No.
No. Yeah. Okay. Double click on 5250 emulator again. Okay. Enter your username and password again. ITPA 569. Tab. Put in a password and hit enter.
When I put the password in, I'm typing new pass.
Oh, did you not change your password before?
No, I didn't. That's why I said the account that I was just on, that's the password that I changed.
Okay. Go ahead. Try new pass.
Because that's the one that works.
Okay. Enter. Okay. Enter. Okay. Now put new pass for the current password. You just type new pass. Okay. Tab. Okay. I will let you stop sharing and then you can put in whatever password you want to twice and then hit enter.
Okay.
Okay, Lewis, were you able to get your password squared? Mr. Westquist? You got it?
Yeah, I was able to create a password. So yeah, I'm just currently typing it in.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Okay. So let me share my screen here. Okay. So see, I mean, sorry, who's that? Okay, so we are able to log into okay, Brianna's microphone is on. Okay, so we were able to log in to the green screen now. So this is one of the screens we learn about in chapter 1. Okay, so if we want to go to some of the commands that we learned today, how do you display your library list? Who remembers that?
Is it DSPLIBL?
Correct. You need to type DSPLIBL down at the selection or command. Commands are not case sensitive. You can type it in lowercase, uppercase, mixed case, doesn't matter. Hit enter after you type DSPLIBL, and it will show you your libraries. So you will see the libraries with sys next to them. Those are system libraries. You all have one current library, and that is named after your profile. Whatever is your profile, that is your current library. And then you also have a QGPL.
I'm sorry, what do I type again?
DSPLIBL. That's a command that we looked at in chapter 3. That was page number 88. 88. That's where 88, 89. That's where the command is.
I also have a library called Qtemp. Is
That's
that-
fine. As long as, I mean, like, as long as you have something similar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now how do I come out of this screen?
F3.
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 Okay, and what kind of screen is this?
Menu.
List.
It's a list, not a
menu.
menu. Okay.
Oh.
Because I do not have numbers on the list. And look at the header. The header doesn't has the ID or nothing. So this is a list. And also, if you look at the bottom, you don't even have a command prompt. So there are 3 things missing from it to be a menu. Okay. Now, everybody's back on the main menu. If I want to rerun that command that I just typed without typing, which function key should I press?
F9.
F9. Go ahead, press F9. And then hit enter. And then you'll see the same again. Okay. Now, let's go to one of the libraries. For example, you go to your current library. Next to your current library, if you want to look inside the library, which option will you pick? There is only one option at the top, which is 5. So you put 5 and hit enter. And then you go in the library. Your library probably may be empty right now because you don't have any objects. But you know, if you have objects, you will be able to see them in the library.
F3 won't let me leave the list.
Did you try F12?
Let me do it right now. No, it's not working.
I think you might have to hold function.
Yeah,
while
are you on a
hit
laptop?
F3.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you hold down the FN key before you press F3.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
No, it logged me out. Mine disappeared. Where did
Yours,
it go?
what disappeared? Sorry.
I pressed F12 and my whole thing disappeared.
Like means your whole V2 Cloud window closed?
Yeah, it just went haywire.
Oh, so I don't know how your function keys are mapped. So maybe it's one of those function key with an FN combination.
Yeah, I'm gonna log back in right now.
Okay. 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 Oh, I am looking at the chat. Cornelius, where are you stuck?
Typing in the DSL thing, like it's not working.
Let's see, Cornelius, can you share your screen, please? Let's see where you're stuck.
Okay.
I know in the beginning, you know, it probably is a little bit slower, but you know, once you get used to it. Okay, this is right at the bottom and where it says selection, right? That's where we type DSP.
It's not.
It's no. Just yeah, right there. Start typing DSP.
That's weird. It does let me type.
LIBL. Enter. Okay, cool. Then we went down to ITP 569, and that's your current library. As you can see, CUR next to it. And then right before that, you see a little dash under the option. So we clicked on the dash, right? Yeah, this one, that little, yeah. And then we put option 5 to go inside the library. You choose option 5. Why 5? Because that's what's listed at the top in blue color. You see that? 5 equals to display objects in library.
Okay.
So you enter 5 and hit enter. Okay, so here you go. Those are the objects right now sitting in your library.
Okay, let me in. I'm back in. It worked for me. I had to hold the function button.
Okay. So now, Cornelius, you hit F3. Function key F3 to come out of this. Do you also have a laptop with an FN key?
Oh, yeah.
So you probably should press FN and F3. Yep, here you go. So you're on the main menu. That's how far we are. Desmond, where are you now?
I am right where I just reversed back and then I pressed F9 and then activate it back again. So
okay, so are you where I am right now, the main menu?
I will go back there now, yeah.
Okay, so on the main menu, everybody type CRTLIB, create library, CRTLIB. And when I am unsure about the parameters, which function key should I press?
F1.
No, when I'm unsure,
F10.
F4. F4, okay? For those of you who have the FN key on the keyboard, make sure you do FN F4. For those of you who don't, just press F4. What does F4 do? What kind
prompt.
of? Yep, it takes you to the prompt screen. Okay. Now, if I'm sitting on that prompt right there where it says library name and I have no clue what to do and I need help, what do I press?
F1.
Okay, go ahead and press F1. Again, if you have function map, then function F1. So F1 gives you that one-stop shop help. If you need more help, what do you press?
F2.
F2. Okay. Now, if you only want to close the extended help, what do you press?
F12.
F12. Okay. So F12 will take you back to the F1 help, will not close the entire help. And if you press F2 again to open the extended help, but this time press F3 and you will see that all helps close. So F12 only comes back one level and F3 closes everything. So we tried F1 first, then F2. You cannot directly go to F2.
Well, for some reason it is for me when I hit F1.
What did it do?
When I hit F1, it opens the F2 extended help.
Oh,
I have no idea why.
okay. Strange. So F2, when I directly try to press F2, it tells me function key not allowed. Okay. So F1, F2. So I have to go in steps, and F3 will close all helps. F12 will only close one level. Okay. Now, if I want to come out of the screen, I can press F3 and I'll exit out of that screen. Okay. So we have seen all 4 types of screens that we learned in chapter 1. We saw a menu. Then we went into display library list. That's where we saw a prompt. Sorry, we saw a list screen. Then when we went into the create library command, we saw a prompt. And then in the prompt, we looked at help. Those are the 4 screens, doesn't matter where you go in this 5250 environment. You will be in one of the 4 screens. Okay. So now that we have all logged in once and have come this far, our next week should be a little bit quicker as we can just dive into working with commands. that we looked at in the chapter, but we did not work with them. Like being able to create a library, being able to add a library to the library list, being able to remove a library from a library list, being able to edit a library list, being able to change the current library. All of those commands we will work with. And then we will also be looking into chapter 2. So for this week, what you got to do is, of course, besides reading the chapters, now you get your very first assignment, okay? And you get your very first quiz. The first assignment and the first quiz is actually your review 1, is your quiz 1 on chapter 1 only. But your assignment is coming from 2 chapters, 1 and 3. But you only have 1 question from each chapter. So question number 1 is from chapter number 1. Let me zoom in so that it's easier. List and describe. See, because the problem is sometimes people do not read the question correctly, and all I get is a list. Well, if you give me a list, you don't get 50 points. Because each question is 50 points, you probably may get 5 or 6 points out of 50. But when I say describe, I need description. Description doesn't mean pages after pages. Description means a little bit of description, as at least as much as it's in the book. In your own words, you know, don't just copy paste everything. Similarly, in question 2, it talks about describe the architecture, the 5 layers. So you don't just copy paste what's in the book, read it and put it in your own words. And then when you submit your work, submit it in a Word document or RTF or a PDF. Do not type your answers in the comment box. Okay? Don't just come down here and type it here. Excuse me. Any questions?
Yeah, we were up on about a create library. Do we actually create one or no?
No, we did not. I just wanted to show
Okay.
you guys the 4 different screens. That's all I did.
All right.
Is there any proper way we should sign off?
I will get to that. So when you're
Okay, okay.
here, you can type 90, and that'll sign you off. Okay, and then you can close the 50 to 50 window, and then you can close the ACS.
You
And
said you type 90?
90, but you have to be on the main menu to do that, because that's an option on the main menu.
Do we save the session or not?
No, don't need to save the session. And then to close the V2 Cloud, you just simply close the tab. That's about it. And then you're out of the V2 Cloud. So you need to work on 1 assignment and 1 quiz besides reading the chapters. Okay. And how are you guys feeling though?
Good.
Good. Okay.
It's definitely more confusing theory than I'm used to, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Again, it's different. That's what it is. You know, it will
Yeah,
take time.
yeah, exactly. It's just something so far from everything I've worked with.
I feel exactly what you're feeling. It's a little bit intimidating because you're learning, and you know there's other people in the class, and you're trying not to hold them back, and trying to think about everybody else in the class. You know, so I'm trying to like keep up with the new system. It is definitely challenging.
Yeah, and remember, we are here as one group, okay? And our philosophy is that no child left behind. Okay?
You're all children.
So
I mean,
if
this
you-
is something completely new for me. So I mean, I'm you know, I definitely got to study. So
Yeah, it's perfectly okay. If you are falling behind, let me know, and then I will get to where you are, or probably may ask you to share your screen and then get you as far as we are. And every week you will see that you are getting better. Okay, because you're using it more. This was your first time on the system today.
Yeah,
Last week we
Yeah.
didn't.
Being able to like actually sit and like work through the screens like with it in front of you like helped me understand a lot of what we were talking
Yeah,
about
I
for the slideshows.
agree. I
Yeah, that
agree. I
was-
was like,
I agree as well.
kind of. I was like, when are we going to actually do this? You know, so.
Here you go.
Yeah, I was at the first week, I was completely lost. But today I definitely feel like I have a basic understanding of what's going on,
Yeah, same.
which is really good because I haven't dealt with, even anything remotely similar to this before. The closest experience I've had to this IBM like software and stuff is in high school. I took a class on Basic 64, which is an archaic programming language, but not really the same even then.
I mean, I have like a lot of programming experience because I took a lot of dual credit classes while I was in high school. And even still, like this is completely different for me. So it's still challenging, even if you have experience.
My closest experience to this is Microsoft Paint. So
Nice.
Okay.
My closest experience to all this stuff is my Xbox, I guess.
I really like Alvin's comment. Did you guys read that?
What do you say? Oh, Walgreens? Yeah.
On their AS400s, or if you have ever worked behind the desk at Home Depot or any of those stores, they used something similar to this for a very long time before they transitioned to something more graphical, user oriented.
I worked at a printing company, and there's a lot of little screens, just like the screens that we're knocking through for entering stocks and looking for stocks and deleting stocks out of the computer. So I kind of like dealt with something a little bit similar, but never this deep into it. Even though this is just the entry of this thing, I feel like
Yeah,
I'm already up to my neck, you know.
And then, we spend, I would say, a month and a half on 5250. And then we transition to another software, which is much more color coded, like Visual Studio. And you're still talking to the same guy.
I have some experience with Visual Studio, so I am looking forward to that.
Oh, so it
I
will not
agree.
be drag and drop, but it'll be like color coded, and a lot of stuff would be menu driven and stuff like that.
I think Visual Studio is where I did all the C# stuff.
Yeah,
also does,
usually
like,
like
C++
C#.
and
Yeah, C++
stuff.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we in the other